So the goal of today's class was to study Western civilization and Boston Tea Act, all that fun stuff. But while I was preparing for Western civilization, I happened to come across a word called wisdom. So in today's class, we'll be studying what is the difference between knowledge and wisdom and what are the roots of this word wisdom. Okay, so let's get started. So first thing first, where does this word wisdom come from? Where does this word come from? So this comes from ancient Greek history. So almost 2500 years ago, when people used to think that, oh, if there's a thunderstorm, maybe a god is angry. But the Greeks were like, no, it's not because any god is angry, it's because there must be something behind it. There must be some phenomena behind it. So they started asking, why? Why is something happening? And then they invented something called philosophy. Okay? Now this word philosophy, this basically means, philo means love. Okay?
Where is my ball pen gone? Whiteboard.
So, philo means love, okay, and Sophie comes from the word Sophia, which means wisdom. So basically, Greeks invented something like something they call philosophy, and with philosophy, this simply means their love for wisdom. And what do they mean by wisdom? With wisdom, they mean that, okay, I have to understand why is something happening. Why? And when I know why something is happening, and it tells me the root cause of it. Okay? It tells me the root cause of it. So now we have some philosophers who are, number one, Socrates, number two, Plato, and number three, we have Aristotle. Now the key here is that this guy, Socrates, he was basically father of philosophy. Socrates was father of philosophy, and Plato was student of Socrates, and Aristotle was student of Plato. Okay? And Socrates was the one who started asking, why is something happening? Why? Why is something happening? And from there, we have Plato, who was basically a visionary. And then we have Aristotle, who was a scientist. Okay? And same, we have other people as well. We don't really talk about them, but they are also a very important part of Greek philosophy, and they were Archimedes. Archimedes was the one who wanted to discover why is something floating on the surface of water. That's why we have Archimedes principle. Now we have another person whose name is Pythagoras. And Pythagoras was like, okay, we have numbers, we have shapes. How do these numbers and shapes work together? And guess what? What did we get? We got Pythagoras theorem. And then we have an other person, hypocrite. Right? And what did we get? Hippocratic oath. He wanted to see why people get sick. And what did we get? That's why we have Hippocratic oath. Okay? Well, this oath basically when there's a white coat ceremony, that's when people usually, the future doctors usually take this oath. Okay. Now moving further, the basic difference. Now I did tell you that okay, wisdom came from philosophy. Philosophy is where the roots of wisdom lie. But what is philosophy? What is wisdom, right? So far we know that okay, wisdom is about asking why. But only asking why is not what wisdom is. Let's see. Okay. Wisdom. Wisdom is when you balance your mind and your emotions. Okay? When wisdom is when you have a balance between your mind and your emotions. Let's say, for example, there's a boy who's playing with a toy, right? His toy breaks. Now your mind will say that okay, this toy was made of stupid plastic. It was just a plastic. It's gone, right? It's stupid, right? But you can't say that thing in front of that kid. Obviously, like his heart will break. So now you have to balance your emotions. So now what do we get? A wise person will be like, okay, it's your toy. I'm pretty sad that your toy just broke and we'll buy a new one, right? So in this way, your mind knows that, okay, it was a stupid toy, right? But you're balancing your emotion in front of the other person. You don't want to offend the other person, right? So basically, wisdom is knowing something and at the other part of his heart. So let's say means mind and heart. You have to keep the feelings of the other person in mind. You have to say things in such a way that the other person is like that it doesn't hurt the other person, right? You don't have to attack the personality of the other person. This is basically what being wise means. This is basically what wisdom means. That okay, I have knowledge about something, but I have to convey that knowledge in such a way that it doesn't hurt someone's feelings. So now wisdom is simply the balance of mind and heart. This is what wisdom is. Okay? Everyone is not wise, right? People tend to have emotional outbursts. People tend to say things which might be offensive for the other person. And that is where the wisdom comes in. You want to say things which are in your mind, but you have to balance your emotions and you have to balance your heart. This is what being wise means. Basically, this is it. What being wise means? Wise means that okay, I have mind, I have a good fertile mind which thinks something, but I don't want to hurt emotions of the other person. I have to keep in mind that okay, I can't say that offensive thing to the other person, right? And if you do that thing, you are a wise man or a woman or anything like wise man or woman. Yeah, why I'm saying anything, right? I mean, I don't want to create any controversy. I'm just saying you can be a wise man or a woman. Okay? Okay, now moving further, what is the difference between so stupid. Yeah, now I have to be wise because I don't want to hurt the feelings of this board. Okay, so now what is the difference between knowledge and wisdom? Simple. Knowledge means, well, let's say example, that tomato is a fruit. Okay, and guys, tomato is fruit. You can Google it. Tomato is fruit, right? Knowledge is tomato is fruit, but wisdom is I cannot put tomato in fruit salad. Okay, this is basically what's the difference between knowledge and wisdom. A wise man or a woman always think that, okay, if let's say I'm taking this action, what will be the repercussions or what will be the reaction of my X action, right? Because obviously if you say something and that thing offends the other person, then definitely the other person will say you something in reverse, right? That person will also try to say you something wrong, right? If that person gets offended, that person will say you something which you might think is offensive to you. And that's what a wise person does, is like, okay, I'm not going to say you anything, you don't say me anything, we are good, right? We are at good terms, you're fine, I'm fine, it's okay. Okay, that is basically what being wise means. So we are done with today's video. I hope this video was helpful. See you tomorrow with another video, another class, and yeah, do like, share, subscribe. See you in the next video.